And so I count 6 of us. Is that correct?
There's 6 plus you, 7.
7. Okay, so that would constitute a quorum. All right, let's get started. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to try to do this from afar. So the agenda is pretty brief, and hopefully we'll get through this in short order. But really appreciate everybody being here, and hope you all had a great Easter. First thing we'll do is start with roll call. I'll start George Bennington.
Gene Goodman.
Sue Leoni.
Tim Pumple.
Francesca Segalis.
Hank Green. Keith Ritchie.
Great, thank you. Next order of business is to approve the minutes from our March 15th, 2023 meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Francesca. Second, Keith, thank you. All those in favor? Raise the right hand. Opposed? So carries. Okay, thank you. Hillary, are you
Yes.
there? Great.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Hillary, just for a second. You may want to be where people can see you if there are people. I don't know if there are people
Oh.
besides George on Zoom,
Okay,
but
Nope,
No.
that doesn't work.
Yeah, come
no,
on, it won't work. You'd have to be up here, but it's fine.
If you have a
Great.
PowerPoint, that's fine.
actually. Will the presentation be? up there?
I get it.
Okay, well, I just wanted to give you an update on the carriage barn, and I think around this time last year, I had presented an update on what was happening, and also just go over some of our sort of programming and facilities priorities, what we're focused on now. So just to give a little background, I know most of you are pretty familiar with the carriage barn, but you know, don't want to take anything for granted. So the carriage barn is operated by the New Canaan Society for the Arts. I know that is sometimes confusing to people, but New Canaan Society for the Arts is our nonprofit, was established in 1977 to operate the Carriage Barn Arts Center. Our mission is to promote the visual and performing arts, enrich the community through exhibits, education, and cultural experiences, and then to operate the carriage barn. And just some background on the organization, we were established by local artists and arts patrons in New Canaan in 1977. We're supported by our members through membership and also through other sources from the community. We're a nonprofit cultural organization. I'll go through some of our sort of major activities that we do year round, but we're open Wednesday through Sunday, year round. Additionally, we're open at other times for special events and special programs. Admission is free to the gallery, all are welcome. And our estimated attendance is about 12,000 a year. And that's really made up of the 10 exhibits that we do year round, and all the related programs that we do for each of those exhibits is about 7,000 people. And then 2,500 through our classes, concerts, and meetings, and another 2,500 through rental events and community organizations that use the space. And just a little more background on how we operate, which is on the next slide. We're led by a full-time executive director, which is myself. We have 3 part-time employees. We have a board of directors, which are primarily from New Canaan, and they are professionals, artists, community volunteers who are very dedicated to the organization. And we have an advisory board as well. We have about 500 members and supporters. Probably half of those live in New Canaan, and the others are artists or just, you know, people from the surrounding area that want to support us and be part of what we do. Our operating budget is about $265,000. We operate pretty much break even each year, you know, covering the costs of, you know, keeping the facility going, keeping our programming going and exhibits. And our relationship with the town is that, we have the use of the carriage barn. We do not pay any rent for that space, but we are responsible for maintaining that space and all of the costs involved with, keeping that building not only running as a building and those costs, but also looking at, a very active and vibrant place, which we take very seriously and have, especially over the last few years, really increased the activities and sort of what's happening there, made it a real destination. So the next few slides we can go through pretty quickly, but I just wanted to sort of touch on some of our major exhibits that are long established. Our season really kicks off in September after the summer with our member show, which is our biggest exhibit of the year. And then our Deck the Walls exhibit, which is in November, December. This is a newer exhibit that has really become sort of a community tradition and just something that people have gotten really excited about and love. It combines an exhibit and sale of small artwork, which is really timed well for the holidays, and then also an auction and sort of showcase of these one-of-a-kind, sort of very unique wreaths that are created by artists and community members, New Canaan organizations and businesses and designers, and people just love coming to see them. They're completely different each year, and it has become a fundraiser for the Carriage Barn as well. Then going into January, February, we have our annual photography show, which is one of our major juried exhibits. So this is open to not only our members, but photographers from the region will submit their work for the chance to be included in this exhibit. We receive about 700 submissions each year, and we bring in someone from outside the organization, either a well-known photographer or editors, to go through those submissions and select the pieces. So it's a really exciting exhibit with a lot of events and programs. There's always students that are part of that as well. And then that sort of leads into our annual exhibit we do with the high school, which just ended. This was the 10th year that we've done that exhibit. And it's just fantastic. The artwork is incredible. It's a great partnership between the Carriage Barn and the high school. We really work closely with the high school and the art teachers because they actually bring the students. They can walk over from the high school to visit our exhibits, and we've even had writing classes come up and sort of find inspiration for writing assignments at our exhibits. So it's really great to showcase the student work there. And this year we actually our exhibition committee and board of directors awarded one student a $1,000 scholarship, which was really exciting and something we plan to do again. Right. And then we have our Spectrum exhibit, our other big juried show, which is our contemporary art show, is opening up in a couple of weeks. And then okay. And then our Art in the Windows, which happens in June, which is in downtown New Canaan. We work with the New Canaan Chamber of Commerce. Almost every store and business downtown participates in that. And starting really just last year, we started doing a big sort of downtown celebration of the arts right downtown at the corner of Elm Street and South Avenue. Which was a big hit, and bringing in music and things for kids to do. So we are working on planning that again. And then we also always leave some room in our calendar for sort of special exhibits and special opportunities. We're really a community organization. So we have worked with many other organizations to collaborate on exhibits like Capturing New Canaan, which we partnered with the Waveney Park Conservancy on, which was sort of a plein air event, outdoor art making weekend. And then we follow up with an exhibit showing those works. So it's depicting all work that was inspired by or created in New Canaan. She is Rising, an exhibit and event we partnered with Live Girl on. And then just this past fall, we did a big exhibit in collaboration with Caffeine and Carburetors that coincided with the big event here. And then the sculpture up on the top is from the sculpture trail that we did with the New Canaan Land Trust. So yes, so partnerships I touched on, we definitely recognize that's a huge, very important part of what we do. And, you know, we partner with many other nonprofit organizations, many local businesses to, you know, on exhibits, but also events and programs and fundraisers. And it's something we're always looking to grow those partnerships. So just backing up, we did just recently complete a big renovation project in 2021. We really had, you know, had a lot of increased activity at the Carriage Barn, and it really necessitated us sort of looking at how we could get to the next level. And the town was also in need of making our bathrooms ADA compliant. So we partnered with them and contributed to the funds for that renovation to really make it a bigger project and accomplish all the things that we really wanted to do to grow. So in addition to the renovation of the bathrooms, we through a grant we got from Genium, we're able to add air conditioning to the building, which, believe it or not, we never had. So we now can be open year round instead of having to close up for sort of 2 or 3 months in the summer. We added a classroom space, which we also never had. So now we can do programs and events, you know, outside of just the gallery space itself. We expanded the lobby and the entrance area to just make it a much more welcoming space and an office space as well. So at the same time as completing that project, and you can go to the next slide, but that was also kind of coming out of COVID, and it was a good time for us to assess as an organization what our kind of strategic priorities were. And we engaged our board and constituents in that process and looked at, you know, everything from our financial and development, marketing and outreach, our operations, and, you know, where we could learn and grow. So we covered a lot, but what really came out of it was that programming is where we really believed we had the most opportunity to sort of grow the organization. You know, our exhibits were very established and successful, but really to sort of get to the next level, there was a lot of opportunities. So our program strategy, and I don't know if any of you get our emails or communications, you maybe noticed that we're doing a lot more lately. And if you go to the next slide, our programs, everything that we do at the Carriage Barn falls into one of the 3 areas. And these are kind of our strategic areas of either educational programs, community and entertainment programs, and fundraising and or donor cultivation programs. And some of those kind of cross over into a couple of those categories. So the educational programs we've been doing are both many programs for kids, after school art classes, free drop-in programs on weekends for families with young kids, and also a lot of adult educational programs. This is a Tuesday night drawing, drop-in drawing night that we started a few months ago and has become really, really popular. There's just, it's very relaxed and people can just kind of show up and draw on their own or seek some guidance, but it's really a nice community thing. And there are people from, you know, in their early 20s to in their, you know, 70s or 80s who come to that. And then artist talks in the gallery. Some of the community and entertainment events are include concerts of all sorts. We just did an open mic night recently. We've started doing yoga in the Carriage Barn on Saturdays. We partnered with the New Canaan Farmers Market and had a farm to barn brunch last month, which was fantastic. And people are, you know, already asking when we'll be doing something like that again. And then the free drop-in family series events that we're doing every month. And then some of the donor events we're doing include, you know, lectures and and panel discussions, opportunities for, people who want to learn about the arts to kind of have some unique experiences and, learn from some, interesting people who are in the area or taking groups into New York to visit galleries or museums. And then our New Canaan Live series I wanted to mention, which is a new initiative for us this year and was supported by some ARPA funding that we received from the town to really expand some of our in-person programming that's really geared towards the community. So we have a lot in the works surrounding that, including Make Music Day, which we will be facilitating for the town. It's really a town-wide event on June 21st, and it's part of a national celebration of live music that takes place in thousands of towns around the country. So New Canaan's going to be a part of that this year. I just wanted to mention our marketing partnerships because, doing all these, increasing the amount of programs we are doing, we definitely need to always be kind of reaching new people. And so we really focused on, growing the exposure that we're getting in the community through all different kinds of partnerships, including New Canaanite and other publications. We have about 10,000 subscribers to our email list, so a very broad, base, and those are segmented by, families, artists, people who are coming to the Carriage Barn for all sorts of reasons. And we have, I think, 4,000 or so Instagram followers, which is another increasingly sort of major way that people follow and learn about what we have going on at the Carriage Barn. So that's sort of the background. I did want to touch on a couple of our programming priorities, especially two things that do relate to the park and that we would love the opportunity to, I wanted to, mention them tonight, but would love the opportunity to sort of come back with a more formal proposal if that would be the next step. But I mentioned that we had done the Downtown Arts Festival in conjunction with Art in the Windows last summer, which was fantastic, and we'll be doing again in June. And we also would really love to do something like that in Waveney, over in the area of the Carriage Barn, tied to our member show, which is in September, October. So we would love the opportunity to do a Waveney Arts Festival in the park. We are envisioning this kind of in the space in front of the Carriage Barn, leading up to where the Powerhouse Theater is, and having a series of workshops, demonstrations, performances, and artists who we would, there would be a jurying process, but select artists who would be there showcasing and selling, their artwork and ceramics, jewelry, sculpture, things like that. And just have it be a free, open to the community, celebration of the arts and showcase of the arts, and, an opportunity for artists in the area also to sort of promote what they do. And so we are looking at doing that hopefully the weekend of September 30th, October 1st. And again, I can submit a proposal. I'm not sure what the process is, but wanted to mention that.
Hillary, thank you. Yeah, we would need, our next meeting is on May 10th. I think this sounds terrific, but we do need to approve it. So we can get you on the agenda for next May, and just bring this slide with you. Boom.
Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. And then the other proposal, which I would also love the opportunity at that May meeting to discuss, and that's on the next slide, is we, as you know, we've done, partnering with the Land Trust, done the sculpture trail with them for 2 years. And we've also had sculpture outside the carriage barn, and the response has been just incredibly positive. But one of the things, that people really miss about that is not, having the opportunity to sort of come to one place and visit multiple sculptures in one place. So we are in talks with two of really the biggest sculpture organizations in our area. The New England Sculptors Association, which is based in Boston and represents about 400 sculptors from throughout New England, and the Sculptors Guild, which is in New York City, and also a smaller organization, but many New York City and vicinity-based sculptors. And we are talking to them about a sculpture show that would be in the carriage barn in the summer of 2024. And with some pieces outside in the courtyard of the carriage barn. But we would very much like to explore the possibility of having some additional outdoor sculptures through Waveney Park. And I know this is something that, has been broached, and Waveney Conservancy has done a couple of things. I know they have their own sort of agenda when it comes to that, but being in the park and being an arts organization with such a long history, I think it really makes sense for the carriage barn to do something like this. So I know there is a lot to be discussed around that, but it is something that I hope that we can explore. So and the presidents of those two organizations, would have lots of extensive experience, producing these types of things and handling, all the logistics and the liabilities and the insurance and the, installation. So, which is a fantastic resource. And I think, at our next steps, they would be available to answer any questions or concerns around something like that. So moving on to our facilities, just a couple of things that I wanted to sort of touch on that are our areas of, now that we've done this great renovation to the inside, we're sort of putting our focus on, how else can we really improve the carriage barn? And one of the biggest opportunities, I think, is our courtyard, and which is a gravel right now, which really does not lend itself towards anyone really walking on it. But it's, it's certainly not ADA friendly. And also in the summer, it's just filled with weeds and, very unsightly and requires a lot of maintenance. So this is something we have already talked with Tiger about, and we have spoken to Keith Simpson about it, who is, helping to put together sort of a plan. We've applied for some potential funding through Connecticut Humanities, but it's a beautiful space, and it's really what links the carriage barn to the park. And I just envision that as potentially being a space where, even when the gallery is closed, is a place that people could come and kind of interact and or just kind of have a picnic and enjoy themselves. But it could be a place where there's artwork, or there's outdoor performances. So that is something that we're hoping to move forward.
What is sort of surface are you looking for?
Like bluestone, that would be set in, and also there's definitely a need for improved lighting, not only in the courtyard, but in the sort of whole parking area.
That's the lighting's in the works.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, some of the poles are here.
Yeah, right.
You don't call it gravel, but it's just kind of pebbly.
It's
Oh, I
It's
know,
large.
it's a
very
beautiful
difficult to
garden,
walk on.
and definitely not EPA.
Perfect, bluestone or something there.
number of years ago, that was requested to be carried that way by the carriage barn, so.
Case change.
He is, that's right,
Yeah.
and it is bad to walk on.
Yeah, but if it were bluestone, I mean, then that space becomes very usable. You could put in like tables with umbrellas, or your you
Yeah.
know, we're recovering for your groups.
Yeah.
And, if we want.
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, it would be great. So actually, the next slide is just, I wanted to show some pictures from this fantastic event that we did last Thursday, which took place inside and outside the carriage barn, but, you know, there were just, so many people enjoying that space. It was really lovely to see, and it went sort of into the evening and afternoon, and,
What was this one called?
this was it was our spring into summer entertaining fest. So it was, we're between two exhibits right now. So we kind of took that opportunity to do this event, and it was really showcasing some small businesses that are kind of event specialists. So if you were planning a party for the summer, you could come and, you know, meet different caterers and people who do sort of special customized event things. So there was live music and mobile bar outside, and, you know, people who rent furnishings for parties and that kind of thing. But
And this was all right in that.
it was right
gravel
there.
area?
Yeah, it was all right in there, and a little bit just up, you know, towards the theater. And then also throughout the inside of the carriage barn.
I see. Very cool.
Yeah, and then also just, I mentioned the lighting, but another, you know, a few other things that we have discussed and I think are being addressed, but, you know, just kind of beautifying some of the area around the carriage barn. It has become so much more utilized, and you know, I think it's sort of a little corner of the park that's just, you know, getting a lot more attention, and I would love to see it looking, you know, great all the time. So I also have discussed with the Waveney Conservancy. I know that they are focused on some of the woodland areas of the park, and the area kind of opposite our parking area going down the road is something that they're looking to sort of move that up on their potential priorities.
Give me a cookie.
It would help with.
Okay, great.
Yep, and then just the last thing is the back of the building, which is sort of forgotten, but it is back there. And we have the sculpture group downstairs in the bottom part of the building, who are becoming, you know, also, I think we're, you know, impacted by COVID, but are really coming back and becoming more active. And we're working with them to sort of involve them more in what we do in the carriage barn. We also have this deck off the back of the building, which is a space that I would love to see used, you know, for children's art classes in the summer. So, you know, potentially having a covering or an awning on that space and a gate at the top of the stairs, so that it's sort of a safe and usable space that that we can use. So I think between the two of those things, you know, turning our attention to the back of the building and, you know, making that more usable and, you know, just making that space a little more attractive for, and, you know, I think with everything that's happening down by the pond, there's more and more people kind of traveling through this area now.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I know that was a lot.
Hillary, thank you so much. Are there any questions from commission members?
I have one. The 265,000 that it takes operating expenses, can you tell us what that covers? And without being too descriptive, but
Yeah, yes, and I don't have that with me, but it's definitely probably in our annual report online, but you know, specifically. But primarily that covers, you know, our people. So, you know, not only
Staff.
our staff that does all of the programming and exhibit organization, but also with a lot of the new classes that we're doing, you know, paying the instructors who come in and do those classes. And then also, you know, the cost of the facility, you know, so insurance and, heating oil and electric and all of those sort of maintenance costs.
The building maintenance though is a separate thing, right? Isn't that taken
No.
care of by,
They pay the utilities.
they pay the utilities?
Then,
But, like if the roof, it has a
when the
problem,
roof was replaced,
and was that there coming out of their
I believe the town, no.
No,
I
that
believe
was the
town
town.
paid.
So,
Okay.
so any,
Town's building.
Okay,
yes,
that's what I thought,
So it's kind of a landlord tenant setup.
okay.
and then also, producing each exhibit, has costs. We do about 10 exhibits a year now, but it's primarily, people and, ongoing sort of facilities costs.
For the sculpture initiative,
Yes.
have you approached the Silver Mine Art Guild?
Not about that specifically, just because it is something we sort of envision in Waveney, but it's definitely something that, I'm sure a lot of their members would be interested in, being part of, for sure.
And that faces a little overlap with Conservancy. That remember they did the benchmark program that we approved for 2 benches. I heard from Charles Pickett that they have more elaborate plans for wood sculptors and things to go within Wayne. So I don't know if that's been approved in their group, but they're certainly thinking about it. So
Right.
so there's going to be a certain overlap and for them to resolve. And see what eventually goes.
Yeah.
into it, or not.
And I think, and I have worked with, Phoebe and I have worked on some other programming things together, and, I think it would be fantastic if we could do this together, and I think that's definitely a possibility. I know they have some other things in the works, so it's kind of how it, whether it fits in with that, but, that's definitely something we've talked about, so.
This sculpture exhibit, it would be a temporary exhibit, right?
Right.
In contrast to
Right.
the bench plan.
Right.
Are there any other questions?
No. It's wonderful.
Yeah, Hillary, excellent. Thank you very, very much. And if it's all right with you, we will put you on the agenda for the May 10th meeting. Again, Lapham, 7 o'clock, and I will be there. Since you're looking at 2 dates here, September 30th and October 1st. And then also, if you can make sure that you coordinate with John as to any special needs. I saw like there maybe need like a road closure. Do you need porta potties, that kind of thing?
Right.
That'd be great.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Our next on the agenda is Patricia. She there?
No,
No,
No.
No. Okay. All right. It'll be a very short meeting. John, update from you.
Okay, well, I was gonna leave it till the end, but I figure I'll make Francesca happy. The tennis court company has come. Keep happy. They have come, they've done all the prep work. We don't want to do what we did last year, though. We opened too early. So I'm not saying we're not opening up till June or anything like that, but we want a few weeks where we can water and roll the courts and have the surface firm up more so that
be
we
sure the
don't.
tapes are.
It will help keep the tapes down and everything else. So we're not opening this weekend by any means,
Okay,
but we are watering and doing the maintenance as required.
but
So,
you're guessing it'll be before the end of April or?
yes, barring bad weather. Yes,
Okay, great.
I'd say in the next 2 weeks.
That's good
Yeah,
news.
and
Thanks.
the forecast for the weather isn't bad, so I'm not, I think we'll be doing well. All the athletic fields are open. I heard a rumor going around that I don't let them open up until the 15th of April, which isn't really true. The 15th of April historically is a good day to plan on having all of our athletic fields open. I think that's how it got misconstrued, but we open them as they become available. If we can prep one field for baseball or softball, we will prep that field and let the kids get out. So I I don't know if you saw the front page of the paper, but you know, my 15 minutes of fame are over. I dropped the golf balls. And that was a very successful fundraiser for the high school scholarship fund. Spring cleanup's going on and the parks crew have been mowing, taking care of all that. Fields are fertilized. And the pool is still going through. We're doing all the work to open that. We're gonna be tight on the time frame to open Memorial Day, but there's nothing that I'm saying right now that we're not going to, but it's gonna be tight on the time frame. The fountain at Waveney, the pond itself, so to speak, is being plastered tomorrow. So they've gone in and they've removed the loose grout and they're plastering the pond, and the statue will be coming back in the next week or so.
Just in time for the meetings.
Yeah. So the other thing is Waveney House, as far as the new bathrooms upstairs, they started sheetrock. So the roughed-in plumbing's done, the roughed-in electrical's done, and now they're starting to put up sheetrock. So that's moving along well. And then probably the most noteworthy thing right now is the new MyRec software. Hopefully everybody's registered, so they can register for programs. In less than a week, we brought in over $175,000 worth of fees. A lot of that being the pool registration fees, that type of stuff. So that's going very well. Of course, with anything new, we're getting a lot of questions and he's exhausted, but overall it's going very well. So that's all I have. If somebody has any questions.
Any questions for John?
The pickle courts, are they already open and in use?
This year, we really only closed for one day when there was a little bit of snow on. They are open for use. The sooner people pay, once they get their pass, pay for their pass, then they can start reserving courts. So, but they're open, and today, every one of them was busy. At lunchtime. It's caused a parking issue down there.
Yeah, that's something we need to talk about, right?
Mhm. Yep.
That's gonna have to change.
Tiger has plans to change the parking lot up by the tennis courts. I don't think it's gonna be enough to solve all the problems.
Right.
Just, you know, all of a sudden, instead of having the maximum of 4 people out on one court and maybe one person practicing with the wall. You know, it's 5 courts, 4 people each.
Right,
It's busy. And then when the tennis courts open. So.
and then when baseball's there, forget about it.
And eating.
And eating,
Eating's very
yes,
busy.
yes.
So.
Right. Okay. Maybe, John, if you can provide an update on that as that project goes forward, that would be great, because certainly as the summer months come, spring, summer months come in, the problem will only, obviously magnify itself.
Will do.
Yeah. I also had an email today from a resident asking, in terms of the park passes, could there be one all-encompassing pass, which would include tennis, pickle, paddle, pool, all in one versus individual passes, obviously at a much higher fee. I don't know if that is an option that's available now or not.
It's a little problematic. We looked at it just doing, maybe having an all-encompassing paddle pass, or not paddle, a racket sports pass. And the problem is the way the seasons run.
Right.
You know, tennis and paddle are different seasons. So that's why we decided we're gonna keep them separate right now. I think it'd be very problematic with the pool, since it's a separate fund.
Right.
Takes some work to figure that out, so.
Okay.
But it's definitely something we can look at.
Right. It's a question posed to me, and so I was going to follow up with that. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for John?
John, Pete just mentioned playgrounds, and the playground that's, being developed for Waveney. Can you give us a little bit of a timetable?
We were supposed to have a kickoff meeting a while back, and unfortunately, for a number of reasons, people couldn't make it. And another one hasn't been scheduled. And I think the main reason it hasn't been scheduled is we're just trying to get through budget process. So I'm hoping soon. We want to be constructing last fall. That's what we wanted to have it done, but it's still, it hasn't been pushed away. So, thank you.
I do want to mention, I know I mentioned it to you before, but about the heaters at the paddle tennis
Mhm.
courts. If we can get into the budget, a bigger budget to allow for the heaters to be able to dry the courts if they're wet. When people get there, there's the dew that happens in the morning, and the surrounding courts all do that, whether it's a club or a town association.
Okay.
So if you could look into that, that would be great.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've already gone through the budget process that starts for the budget year that's July 1st. All the way through next winter, but we definitely can. We can definitely include it in the following year. That'd be
So
probably-
we're not gonna be able to do it until winter 2024.
Right now, yes, what it comes down to is how much money we have in the propane budget. Is the main thing,
Okay,
so,
well, and the fact that we didn't use it for snow this year because there was
which is
none
nice.
means that we have excess, doesn't it?
Yeah, but we won't have that's good until June 30th. It doesn't help us into next year. So. Let us try to do a better job. How's that sound? And we'll see what we can do,
Okay,
you know, but definitely put
just so
more
you
into it.
know, it
Yeah,
needs to be
we're-
addressed. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
We're also talking about, you know, they're running natural gas up here to Waveney, which would, you know, Lapham would be, they have, one of the, I'm not gonna have the proper term, but the cogeneration thing they're installing here at Lapham, and so that needs natural gas to run, but while they're doing that, we want to include the 2 sets of heaters for the pool, the paddle courts, the buildings, including Waveney House, so, but there's no time frame yet on that.
That's gonna mean that the heaters will have to be changed to run a different gas though. no?
It's just an orifice, it's a very simple change. Yeah,
Okay,
so it's not a big deal.
That'll be a huge savings, right?
I hope so. I honestly, I don't know. In general, I don't have anything to compare it with.
I was thinking just like the propane to heat the paddle courts versus using natural gas.
Right, and I just don't know the rates, so I really can't tell.
thanks, John.
Thanks, Francesca. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay, thanks, everybody. I will move on to my report, which is very brief. Our next meeting is on May 10th at the Lapham Community Center. B, do you have Patricia Spagnani's contact information? I would like to reach out to her and make sure she's, since she missed this meeting, to be at the May 10th meeting, because I know they have a number of capital projects that they would like to get approved. Do you have that information? Do you have her contact?
I probably do. If not, I can get it.
That would be huge. Thank you very much. I think I tried to send her an email before it didn't go through. And then Hillary will have you back for the approval for the Waveney Arts Festival. And I think we're off to a great start. Thankfully, a mild winter, and so the spring sports will get underway, and it'll be very, very busy on the weekends and weekdays as well. So can appreciate everybody's hard work. Appreciate your understanding as I'm doing this via Zoom. Are there any questions of me?
You having fun?
It's raining down here, so yeah. So you haven't missed much. Been raining for the last 3 days. So, so if there's no other business, is there a motion to adjourn? Thanks, Francesca. Motion. Is there a second? Keith? Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of
Take
your
care,
day.
guys. See you. Thank you.